Welcome to the Creator Launchpad. We want to see your idea for a new original show concept. So get together with your friends and shoot an episode. We'll watch your video, and if we love it, we'll hire you to join our team and direct more episodes. Click on the link in the description below for more information.
Does everyone here wear jeans? Yeah. Where do you guys buy your jeans from?
That honestly depends. I've had some luck. I mean, I present more masculine, so a lot of the times I will resource to Old Navy. I'll just kind of go there and get one of the bigger pairs. I actually did just get a pair from Old Navy a couple weeks ago, and I love it, but it's a little big in the waist, so I do have to take it in. I'm probably gonna tailor it though. So, but I do love Old Navy's jeans, especially their men's section.
I don't really wear jeans, but I think the only two pairs that I own are from Shein.
I feel like it depends what style I'm going for.
True.
Like for fitted jeans, I definitely think Good American's my go-to. Obviously they're on the higher end of pricing wise, but they make my ass look great.
Well, that's the thing. Also, getting the confidence to actually wear what you want, it took me forever. So when I actually did, I'm still in the mentality when I was 16, 17 and I could fit in a medium. Mm-hmm. So I'm I can't go to the same stores. I can't go to a mall and buy clothes anymore.
I would say 2 years ago, I would go to Goodwills and Value Villages, but that has become a lot harder as of late. The reason that I chose to do this was mainly because it meant a lot to me to share the idea of as you transition away from being in a bigger body to potentially being in a skinnier body, that is not something that makes you harder working or better at achieving some sort of goal than the other person or another person that you may see in a plus size body. And going into it, I promised myself I wasn't gonna tell any lies. I was gonna be very truthful and speak on every kind of experience that I had leading up to today. I wanted to make sure that what I was saying was stuff that I lived through. I think putting on a character would be disrespectful to the other people that were here today. I just thrift most of my clothing, and I have a tailor for my pants anyway.
Shout out to the tailors.
Yeah, 100%. Especially when I'm back home. I'm 15 minutes outside of New York City, so I usually just commute in there. There's this one thrift store, I don't know if anybody's been, called the L Train, and that is really good for carrying bigger sizes. Back in my actual hometown, I can go to my tailor very easily. It's a 5-minute drive from my house.
Okay.
So I thrift probably 90% of my clothing, cheaper, saves energy, and it feels way easier.
There is no way he's gonna go pay $15 for jeans, then go pay $45. I get it, as a plus size person, tailoring for some things, great. But I could not believe for a second that he is tailoring every set. And I was he is not fat anymore.
Not gonna lie, I shop at Ross a lot or Marshalls. And finding jeans is hard. It's a hit or miss. Sometimes at Ross they'll have bigger sizes, sometimes they don't. But if it says stretch, then I'm usually good on it.
I actually didn't even share where I got my jeans from. I realized that. I usually shop at American Eagle. Jeans in general are a struggle to find. Either they fit your thighs and they don't fit your waist, or they fit your waist and it's a struggle.
Oh man. I did feel, I guess, invalidated in a point because they were talking about, brands and, and stuff that I can't really afford. So I thought my answer of, I shop at Ross because that's what I could afford, I thought that's what kind of eliminated me.
So I was gonna say, if any of you guys did any form of performance as a kid, and I know we were talking about how some of us were models before, sorry about names, but how that affected you growing up and how the idea of performing and being on stage was definitely more difficult for you than your peers.
That is an awesome question.
Yeah. Well, you start since there.
Yeah. So I was on the math team for my elementary school, which was very fun and I enjoyed it a lot. But before our first meet, when we were doing practices and such, they gave us the vest sizes. And I remember putting on the largest vest size that they had and it clinging to my skin and making me very uncomfortable. And I walked into the bathroom and I was looking at myself in the mirror and I was I can't do this, and I quit. And it really frustrated me that I let that take away something that meant a lot to me. That was definitely my first experience with it is very difficult for me that outside elements are going to take who I am and make that a form of a problem.
As a woman in a plus size theater community, it's I always got the funny roles or the really unattractive roles. And I'm like, I'm big, that doesn't mean I'm hilarious. Like,
Girl, we could talk about this forever.
yeah, so that's
Yeah.
super powerful because performing and becoming into yourself, you either have to be overly confident and fake it till you make it, or it will tear you down. So I'm very sorry that happened to you.
How do we all identify? Do we identify, like, what do we use to label ourselves if you have one?
PHAT. Thank you.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
I have a weird feeling about that one for some reason. Really? I like just normal.
Yeah.
Because I'll say fat and then people be like, oh my God, fat. And then I'll be like, it's not inherently a bad
No,
word.
not a
It's
taboo
an
word. That's the
adjective.
biggest-
I
That's
say
the
fat all
thing.
the
No, but it
time.
is kind of taboo because I was like, oh yeah, I'm fat. Don't say that. You're beautiful. I am gorgeous, but I am fat.
I didn't say I was ugly.
It's oh my God,
Yeah,
bro.
I'm sorry, I misspoke.
I was
People
like,
treat it like it's
right,
taboo, and
right.
that's
So
the
it's
issue, really.
it's two truths. I'm like,
Exactly, yeah.
I feel beautiful, but I am fat. Being fat or plus size does not mean that we're not active, that we're not nice people, that we're not worthy. It really sucks when people treat you differently because you're a size 18 rather than a size 2 or 4.
When I, like, for example, great example, I went Halloween shopping, and it's really hard because, like, first and foremost, trying to find the plus size costumes, they're like, it's just kind of integrated everywhere. And it's like, realistically, you have 200 costumes here, but only like 10 are for plus size. Then I go on to the other costumes, and I was like, my choice is to be like a duck or the plus size nun costume covered boobs, knees, everything, but the skinny costume for the other nun was like tits out for Harambe. And I'm like, so I literally, like, my choice is like be a bubble bath or a duck, and I'm like, I need a plus size section when I walk into somewhere because we have not progressed in human society.
There was this
I was-
brand
sorry.
that had this big campaign saying they were launching extended sizes, and then it came out and it was like completely different than the straight sizes, and I'm like, we are just asking for the same thing.
Why
in
do
a
they get
size.
cocktail dresses and I get moons?
Literally.
Shut the up. What? Me?
Girl.
What? Yo! Oh my God!
I didn't know it.
Who voted me out?
I am equally shocked.
I'm psychic. I know. One of you was on to something.
If you think the mole is still in the box and you wish to continue playing the game, please raise your hand.
I think the odd one out is probably somebody who lived as a fat
It used
person,
to be, yeah.
but lost the weight. But usually, a lot of the times, people that do grow up fat or go through weight loss journey, they end up being more fat phobic. That's not in all cases. It's not in all cases, but it does happen a lot.
Turning in on that, like, I really do think that in my personal experience, people that go from being in a bigger body into like becoming skinny feel some sort of resentment, especially because I think they tie achievement to what they've done for some reason. Like there's this very big principle of like, look at what I've done, and they push this like American dream-esque mentality of like genuinely like I worked hard and I did this, and it's like, well, not everybody wants to do that.
And
Not
like,
everybody
that's
wa-
fine.
like,
That's fine. If you want to lose weight, do that. But you don't need to like project that onto everyone else. And I would think if you were somebody who lived that experience as a
would
fat person,
understand.
you would
Honestly,
understand.
dating, I've met many guys who were like, I used to be big, so I understand that being smaller is more desirable, and it's just like this conversation just rubs me the wrong way because I've been met with so many people who think like that, and like the worst person I dated was very fat phobic, and they used to be bigger and they lost weight, and they were like shaming me about my body, being like, we'd have better sex if you were smaller and all that shit. Like, oh my god.
No, 100, and it's the connotation, right? Like, because they like quote. Sorry,
Fat is
I was
bad.
gonna throw up air quotes, but we all blindfolded. Because they like put in the work. That part being air quotes, and like became into a skinnier body. All of a sudden, there's this idea like you aren't working as hard. But again, not everybody wants to work that hard.
Exactly.
quote unquote.
Can we also go down the line and maybe just say if we have been fat or plus size most of our life, or if
Actually, that's great because I wanted to say for me it was a little bit different. Growing in South America, there isn't a lot of overweight people, obese people, and I've always been curvy, so to speak, and I was fine, but I was still like, you know how they say I spent my skinny years thinking I was fat? So I moved to the US when I was 16, and I started gaining weight. You know, the life here is different. I wasn't as active. I wasn't doing sports anymore. And then I was on birth control. So for me, it was hormonal imbalance that made me gain a lot of weight. But it really sucked. And, you know, in my own skin, I'm going to start crying. I'm sorry. You know, like being skinny and like now you're fat and like everybody treats you different.
I think it's difficult too because you know, I grew up fat. I've been fat my entire life, and I've always envied, in a way, like I've always wondered what it would be like to live in a thin body and have people treat you differently. Like I've dreamt about it, and I think that is really difficult when you exactly. I understand what you're saying. Like you've lived both, and it's hard because, you know, from people who haven't, it's just we can't even fathom.
You don't even understand.
Yeah.
And speaking into the whole spending your skinny years feeling like you're fat, I definitely relate to that. I'm a bulimia survivor. I was bulimic for about 8 years, and I also played volleyball and it was in theater and stuff like that. And the only reason I stopped throwing up and binging and purging is because I was losing my voice, and I love to sing, and I got nodes.
No, that's the worst.
Shit.
Oh my God.
I went from mezzo soprano to mezzo alto,
Are we all crying now?
pretty much. But yeah, like if it didn't affect my voice, I don't know if I would have stopped.
It really broke my heart after, you know, having to vote people out who, in my heart, I knew were fat. To just feel invalidated, that sucks. That really sucks.
What? Because I wasn't crying. I'm sorry, y'all.
So the eliminations is something that we're wrestling with. Do you feel like it took away from the experience?
It was just like being in the space where we were sharing our stories and everything felt so heartfelt, but it's just a game. But overall, it was really awesome to be in the space and have these conversations that don't happen often if you don't have fat friends to talk about them with. As someone who grew up very self-conscious and didn't know where to look and turn to see people like me, I take that on as an adult to speak about these things and have these conversations that we're still confused about.
If you think the mole is still in the box and you wish to continue playing the game, please raise your hand.
I swear to God, if anyone's lying, oh my God, I'm so pissed.
If the lights turn green, that means you have voted the mole out and you win. If the lights turn red, that means the mole is still in the box and you lose. 1, 2, 3.
Oh no,
We lost.
On the count of 3, everyone can take off their blindfolds. 1, 2, 3.
I knew it.
I
Knew
Wow. I told a heartfelt story about dating someone fat phobic. You guys voted me.
Okay, can we talk about 1,000,001 reasons why it was Derek?
Okay, the only one that got me was like the theater. Like I really could relate with that. So I obviously know that
No.
you were like you really
That
were
was
through
your
that.
biggest
I
red
think
flag.
that was true.
No, it was true. That's what I'm saying.
That's an
gave me
important
away
thing.
was
Nothing.
giving you away was
There's
that
not a single.
you
Yeah.
were getting-
So when I was in 4th grade, I was 4 feet tall. I was 144 pounds, and my doctor told me that I was morbidly obese, and it was a very like self-image wrecking thing for me because he used language that made it seem like I needed to change as opposed to just assessing where I was. Like I said, everything that I talked about before was true, but when we were talking about people being incredibly fat phobic that go through a transition of being in a bigger body and then ending up quote unquote skinnier, that experience for me was I mistook the pain that came with not having self-love as being associated with a number on a scale. And as I kept moving the goalposts further and further away from myself and saying like, this will be when I'm happy with myself, and this will be the time in my life where I like the way I look, and once I do this, I'll be happy with myself, I was no happier than when I started. I just kept being further and further from a goal that I was changing. I am happy not because of the way that my body looks, but because I can have self-acceptance, and that's a very difficult journey for anybody to go on, and me losing any form of weight played no factor in that. I hope that in watching this video, somebody can learn that the horrible stereotype that they have of plus-size people, whether that be that they're lazy or sluggish or they don't eat right or they're not healthy, there are people that are plus-size that are faster than you. There are people that are plus-size that are in better conditions than the average human being. I was definitely plus sized for a long period of my life, and I still feel the residuals of like the way people treat you for being in a plus size body, like to this day.
This is the first time that I'm hearing a lot of these things. Because at least for me growing up, it wasn't like being bullied or anything like that. It was just like my own mind attacking myself. Like seeing in the mirror and be like, oh my God, you're fat, you need to lose weight. Outside of that, like I didn't experience like the bullying and name calling. I didn't see any of that. So like hearing you guys, like that's a lot. I couldn't tell like how I had an eating disorder when I was younger and how I overcame that. And then I slowly started drifting back to it. And I'm trying to lose weight now in a more healthy manner. So I wish I could have told that story to the group.
I'm sorry to anybody that shared something personal and then like because of this feels like they were lied to or abused. Like I came into the game with the idea of just having fun, and I promised myself like I'm not gonna lie a single time that when I speak. It's like I didn't wanna like come in here and build a character.
I hope people who watch this video, no matter what size you are, I think it's important that we're just kind to people and treat everyone with respect.
I hope everybody just takes away like empathy. You never know what someone's going through. You never know why someone's plus size. I don't know who made the rules, but we can create our own rules now, and I hope that everyone in the comments and everyone who's watching takes that away and just tries to be a better person, more understanding person.